How's everyone living today? I hope that everyone's had an incredible weekend, and obviously you guys are in the midst of a great God-given week. Well, I'm your host, SchuZ, Shoemaker. I'm back in my home in Gilbert, Arizona, after an incredible weekend in California for the freshman and sophomore Pangos All-American Camp. Today is a day that I know hyped up for a while, and I think you guys should all be hyped up for, as the Compton Magic series is now off, and you're not going to want to miss a single one of these episodes. Today, you're going to hear from some of the people that make the Compton Magic organization so special, and Dominique Dunning, Coach Breeze McDonald, and legendary Coach Spoon. Now, trust me, like I said, you're not going to miss a single one of these episodes. So, make sure to go and follow me at Zach Shoemaker on Twitter and Instagram so you can stay up to date on the entire Compton Magic series and so many other things that I have on store after the series. Well, with that being said, folks, I say let's hop right in. I'm blessed to be able to have on former UC Irvine New Mexico player and now one of the biggest guys behind Compton Magic and Dominique Dunning to the first episode of Compton Magic series. How are you doing today?
I'm well, man.
Good. Let's just jump right in. Talk about your college basketball career, and obviously now you're in Compton Magic, but talk about playing it and what it was like throughout your career in basketball.
Most people know this, but I'm actually a Compton Magic alumni myself. I played for Compton Magic when I was in high school. We were one of the best teams in program history. We won 30 games in a row. We had a ton of success, a ton of D1 guys that went out that year. We had Jahi Carson, Gabe York, Damian Kane, Wesley Saunders, Askeel Booker, just to name a few. Then I actually committed early to University of New Mexico out of high school. I committed as a junior, and I was set to go play for Steve Alford. And that time, New Mexico was actually on the rise, and I spent 1 year there. We won conference. We went to the NCAA tournament and lost to Louisville by 3 points in the second round. About halfway through that year, I knew I was going to transfer for a lot of reasons. So I decided I was going to go closer to home, and New Mexico was a basketball decision for me, strictly. I wanted to go play somewhere where I thought that I could make an impact and hopefully after my college career play somewhere overseas or maybe in the NBA. Everybody has the NBA dreams back then. But I wanted to make more of an all-around decision with my second choice because I woke up at that point. Like, there's some things in this game and in life that you can't control. So you always want to make yourself more versatile and put yourself in a position to be able to diversify yourself. And UC Irvine was the perfect place for me. When I got to UC Irvine, I was able to have the whole college experience, the whole social experience. The basketball experience was even better. When I went there, we were on a downswing. Coach Russell Turner, who's been there now for about, it's going to be 8 or 9 years going on now. He had just got done with his second season, and he had inherited a program that had some mild success in the past, but, had been on a downswing for a while. And I'm blessed to say that I was a part of the transformation of the program. Every year that I suited up, because I redshirted, every year that I suited up, we won conference, whether it was regular season or the conference tournament. We were the first team in school history to make it to the NCAA tournament, and we just helped transform the whole culture of the school. Basketball is the main sport at UC Irvine. We don't have football, so to take the program that's the most visible and turn it into a success, I feel like it not only helped athletics, but also helped the whole institution in itself.
It's a story that you'll always be able to remember, which is awesome to have.
No question, man.
But at some point, obviously, basketball always does stop bouncing, so you were able to get into the other side of basketball, kind of managing and coaching in that area. So how did you first get involved with that?
Immediately when I moved back, after I transferred from New Mexico, I came back and I moved back into my house that I lived in high school, obviously, just for the summer. And the reason why I'm so tied in with Compton Magic, not just because I played for them, Atope is my role model. He's my mentor. My high school years, I lived right down the street from him. I was at his house just about every day. So when I moved back that summer, I was able to be really involved with the program before I went back to school in the fall for UC Irvine. And I was around when Jordan Bell was playing for us. A ton of guys that are out there doing great stuff in the basketball world. But I was able to really see it from the other side. Up until that point in AAU, I'd only been a basketball player. So to see it from the logistical perspective and see what the adults do on a day-to-day basis, like I got a little glimpse there. And from that point on, I was really interested in it. I just wanted to be a part of it. And back in 2013, we have our huge annual Memorial Day tournament. And I had just gotten in a car accident or something. And it was like a minor fender bender, but I needed money to fix my car. So I asked Tope if I could work. He's like, yeah. And, I had my first job at the tournament, and I did a great job. And from there on, like whenever we had a tournament or event, I'd do whatever Tope asked me to do. And that was really the beginning of me not just contributing as a former player, but actually really being a part of the organization. Memorial Day is our fundraiser. It's the thing that we do to make money for the program. So that's like our biggest thing of the year. As far as like the program is based, that doesn't have to do directly with the team. But from there on, I started working my way up, just getting more and more responsibility. And when I graduated college in 2016, I had like business cards from all of these boosters from UC Irvine. They said, if you need a job, hit me up. And I emailed all these people, and I was about to take a job at like Merrill Lynch. And Tope said, no, man, like just figure it out. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but stay around. Like, and something's going to happen. Like, I just feel like our time is coming right now where we're going to be able to do something big, and you'll be able to be around all the time. And I was like, okay. So at that point, I dropped everything. Like I started Uber driving. And I taught myself how to graphic design. I started making my own money just so I could be around. I was sorting like uniforms for Tope one day, and someone called him and was like, hey, I got this coach. There's this high school in LA called Windward, and he was a brand new coach. He's from Northern California. Colin Foff, he had just got done coaching at Division I University of Portland, and he didn't know anyone in Southern California. And I just so happened to be there when they called Tope and asked him who he should hire. So right place, right time, I get hired to coach basketball in LA. And from that point on, like all of my free time, it was either coaching basketball or doing Compton Magic or coaching basketball. And as time went on, I was able to build up my business as a graphic designer, and I stopped Uber driving. Our events were doing really well. And then I broke into team sales, so I could sell basketball and athletic gear all the time. And now all my work is intertwined with what we do. So that's how I was able to break off and be around it full time, because my job just morphed in to the space that we're in anyway.
To be able to build up, and now you're part of one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious club team in all the country. It's something that no one can take that away from you.
No, exactly. We've been one of the best teams, if not the best team, for a while now. But we had just hit a different level that created opportunities for myself. And it's just, timing is everything, man. Like, it's not just about who you are or who you know. It's also about when the opportunity presents itself. And I just so happened to enter the professional world, the adult world at the right time. And that's why I was the one that was granted the opportunities.
Talk about some of the past players now in college or in the pros that have gone through the Compton Magic organization that you know.
A few years ago, we had 4 guys in the draft. Cameron Oliver, who's overseas now. Jordan Bell, who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. TJ Leaf, Indiana Pacers. Ike Bogu, who's a free agent right now. But those are all draft picks just recently. We just got Jalen Hands. He got drafted by the Brooklyn Nets this past draft. We have a ton of guys that are in the college game right now are ready to go. They're seniors in high school. We got Jules Bernard, Jalen Hill at UCLA, Timmy Allen at Utah. We got Isaiah Mobley and Onyeka Okongwu and Quinn Adlesh at USC. I mean, that's just the guys at the Pac-12 schools. We just had Johnny Juzang. He's going to Kentucky. He's at Kentucky right now. He classed up to go there. He's expected to have a big year. I mean, and so many other guys in between.
No doubt. So now talk about some of the guys in 17. You obviously been able to see them carry on for the last 4 years or so. Guys like Evan Mobley, the #1 player in the country, Jalen Clark, Dalen Terry, Dre Harris. I mean, the list goes on and on for a very long time. I mean, talk about those guys and what it's been like watching them develop over the last few years and where you see them carrying on their career from here on out.
Man, it's beautiful because you know what? Like this this group right here was the first group that I got to see grow up, blossom to where they are now. Like, Evan speaks for himself. He's the number one player regardless of class. He has crazy ability and skill and talent. It's just undeniable. But you talk about Dalen Terry, who's I've known Dalen for a really long time, even before he was on our team, and I speak highly of that kid because he's not just a great basketball player. He's a great kid. He's a leader off the floor. He's the guy that gets all the kids together, and he's the ringleader. Let's go do this. We're going to the movies, or we're gonna go do this or that. He's like a Swiss Army knife. He does everything. He's a glue guy, and the stuff that he does is it's invaluable. Most people don't want to do the little things, and he's the guy that doesn't mind doing any of that. He's a pit bull. He always has his hard hat on. I feel like he has this like chip on his shoulder. Like, you've heard of the term little man complex. He's not a little man, but he's skinny. So he kind of plays this chip on his shoulder where he's always trying to prove to people like that doesn't mean anything. I'll still fight you if I have to, and I'm gonna get this rebound. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. So Dalen truthfully is one of my favorites because I love that kid. And I've always related to him and the most, you know what I mean? Just me personally. But that team goes so deep, man. I mean, we got Chibuzo Agbo. He is so talented and so far from finished. He's a Texas Tech commit. He came on the scene this spring and unknown by a lot of people and his talent spoke for himself. He's a 6'8", stretch 4. He can play 3. He dunks on people. He plays defense. He does everything. You know what I mean? He's just a crazy athlete. Obviously, Jalen Clark is a stud. He's one of my guys that I love too. He lives down the street from me. His mindset is just like, no matter what, I'm going to get this done. No matter if I have to score 20 points, no matter if I have to guard the best player, no matter if I have to go dunk on this guy, no matter what, I'm gonna go get this done. And he's been one of our main guys since he was a freshman. He's been one of the staple guys, and he's made it all the way through, and he's only gotten better. And he's one of those guys too. I feel like most of our guys, they're not guys that, they're far from finished. They're far from a finished product. I've seen him go leaps and bounds just this summer. You know what I mean? Just gotten so much better over a 2-month period, and I feel like his growth period is only beginning. He's at the beginning of what he's gonna be. So I'm really excited to see where he ends up. I can go on, man. Like the rest of our guys, Paris, DJ, Yassine, Dre. We got our guys on the other teams. On the other team, Premier, who's a really good competitive goal team this year too. Our select team, man, our talent just runs so deep. Like we'd have to be on this podcast for hours for him to talk about all the guys we got. We're just so deep, bro. We're so deep, and it's a testament to the work that's been put in by the elders.
Everyone plays a role and everyone wants to win on the team. And the other thing is just, no matter what it is, you guys always are able to keep the majority, if not everyone, throughout the entire 4 years, which is unheard of compared to a lot of other clubs.
Zach, I'm so happy you said that because, I don't know any other way. I've been in this family since high school. Okay, I don't know what Why Not does. I don't know what West Coast Elite does. I don't know what they do. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I see what they do on the outside, but I don't know what they do. I don't know what their program structure is on the inside. When I tell you, man, when I walk into a gym, I just feel like our culture from the inside out just separates us. Our dudes, like in this AAU culture nowadays, man, guys just jump teams every week, and they're just it's about the individual more than it is about the team nowadays, which is totally fine. We're in a world where kids and athletes can maximize their brand because of the social media era, but it takes away from the competitiveness of the game. And when I tell you that I feel like all of our kids, regardless if you're talking about the 14 or the 17U, it really means something to them to wear that uniform, and they'll die for it. They will absolutely die for the Compton Magic, because it's not just a name. Our brand is, and our culture is so tight knit and it's so real, and it's something so like as tangible as culture can be. Our guys can see it right in front of their faces, and they will fight for our culture and our brotherhood until the last second on the clock. The prime example of that was this whole summer, man. Like, first off, this spring we're anticipating to have Johnny Juzang, top 20 guy, one of the best shooters and scorers in the country, and he decides to make the decision to go reclassify and move up. So we lose him right at the beginning of the year. We came within 2 buzzer beaters of being undefeated all spring without our score. And that shows you like what type of team we are. So we go into the summer and Evan goes into Team USA and messes up his back and he decides not to play all summer. So we're missing Evan and we're missing Johnny, who at the beginning of the season were our 2 main marquee guys. And in spite of that, we come from within a buzzer beater, within 1 point of winning the Adidas Gauntlet. And then at the end of the year, we decided to go to Vegas. And we just have a hodgepodge of our guys go to Vegas. We went with 7 guys. Paris Dawson gets hurt the first game. We win Vegas with 6 guys, man, against all EYBL teams, Under Armour teams, independent teams. We're beating everybody by 20 and 30 with 6 guys. And that's not just because we're talented, man. That's because our guys, no matter what, they believe. They believe in what we've created, what they've helped build up, what that bond that they have together as a family, as brothers. And that just speaks to our whole organizational structure, man. Our guys don't just have scholarships to play for. They don't just have offers and videos to play for. They actually have a team and a tradition to play for.
This is one of the first times, obviously, with Mikey this year, they have one of the highest profile players in all of America.
Yeah.
And to be able to keep it where, I mean, I think it's so much different. I mean, you see a lot of guys, I mean, nothing wrong with like what Strive for Greatness does and what a lot of them do with the whole media lifestyle, but you guys are able to do it where they still it's media and it's great for the kids, but it's still controlled where it's still, they work on the game and they get better every day and every weekend.
Yeah. No question. And you know what, Mikey Williams is a superstar, man. He's about to have 1 million followers on Instagram, and he hasn't even played his first real high school basketball game yet. But Mikey's a great kid. Like, he comes to my house all the time and we hang out or whatever. He's a great kid. But it's awesome to be in our era and to be able to, because Mikey doesn't need us to build his profile. You know what I mean? He already has a profile. But there's just so many experiences that we have with high profile players that we have the experience to help him and help him push through times that are great, times that are not so great, and things like that. So it's awesome, like to have the ability to help kids like that and help them through their journey, because like every no matter how like awesome your experience is, there's always ups and downs. So we're happy to always be there for him, and that just goes back to our family atmosphere. Like, I think of Mikey as a little brother to me.
But talk about some of the guys that's going to help lead the young future core now.
Listen, man, like we're loaded for years to come. We got some young guys before him. One of the main guys that sticks out of my minds is Carter Bryant, who's 8th grader. His dad is actually an alum in our program, and he's a coach as well. He's young and he's already almost as tall as me. I'm 6'4". He's in 8th grade and he's young and he's 6'4", and he's long and he has great basketball IQ. So we're going to be watching him. Obviously we have Mikey in the 9th grade, but we also have a ton of budding stars in the class over him. We have Dylan, as you mentioned. We have Kajani Wright, who's top 5 in the country in the class of 2022. We have Benny Giller, who's one of the best like shooters on the West Coast in his class. We have we have so many good kids that are in that young group. If you don't get in 9th grade, then it's going to be really hard for you to get in, because our retention rate is crazy. Like, almost nobody leaves our program once they get in it. But besides Mikey, man, we have a stable of guys. We have Issa Silva, who's, man, he's top 20 in the country. He's one of the best point guards in class of 2021. He's probably going to be the marquee guy moving up on the 17s. Malik Thomas, man, you got to look out for him. Malik goes to Damien High School in Southern California. He had a breakout summer this year. He got ranked by Rivals on this last ranking, and he's a guy to really look out for, amongst others, man.
You guys do so much for the community, but talk about some of the biggest community stuff you guys are working on now and have done.
Well, you know what, man? A few years ago, we realized, we do so many good things with basketball. We get a ton of kids a free education every single year, and we got to a point where we felt like we had a pinnacle, sort of a pinnacle in that area, and we wanted to give back in more ways than one. And so 3 years ago, we started doing community service projects in the city of Compton. Started off, we were feeding the homeless every Monday at the Salvation Army in Compton, and we actually funded their whole Feed the Homeless program for the past few years for the year, and it turned into book drives, backpack drives, diaper drives. We've done a ton of stuff, and our latest initiative that we're launching at the end of this month, it's Create a Legacy. Now we helped start a program at Adidas called Create a Legacy, and it's basically 11 underprivileged high schools in LA. We sponsor their boys and girls basketball teams by Adidas, and not only do we sponsor their teams, but we also have programs in place to help them see things outside of basketball and outside of sports. Because the unfortunate part about kids growing up in the hood is a lot of them feel like their only way to make it out is to become a rapper or a basketball player, a football player. And this program that we've put together, it helps them see past those things and helps them see opportunities that they might have in the corporate world. We had this one exercise where we brought the kids in. They got to design their uniforms for the upcoming year, and they got to design their own shoes. And not only did they get to design their own shoes and uniforms, but Adidas brought in all designers of color so they can see people that look like them, that have jobs that have nothing that have to do with sports, but not necessarily dribbling the basketball or catching a football. Just programs like that. We have Career Day. We have all these things. So we decided to take it back to Compton and take it younger and affect kids earlier. So our new initiative, Create a Legacy by Compton Magic, is an initiative for elementary school kids and middle school kids. And we start off, we're going to do programs where getting their playground and PE equipment. We're going to do a book drive that will be followed by a book report contest where kids will have prizes for whoever has the best book report, which will also roll into having a career day. And the great part about our career day is it's not just like random people who do jobs. We started in Compton a long time ago, and we plan on bringing ex-players of ours that don't play basketball anymore, but they're police officers, college basketball coaches, teachers, whatever it may be. We're going to bring the products of Compton back to show the kids that you can do something with your life that has nothing to do with entertainment or sports. And this is year one. It's our pilot, but we plan on taking this and taking it out into bigger and better things.
All the players within your organization to see what it's like to give back and get that start kind of instilled in the mindset and start to enjoy that kind of stuff. Early age is going to speak measures into their life from here on out. Well, it's been great talking to you today, Dominic. I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you from here on out, obviously, with Compton Magic and what you guys are able to do for the community and obviously what you guys are continuing able to build the basketball program. Best of luck, my guy.
Appreciate you, Zach, and thanks for having me on, man.
Anytime. God bless. Now, trust me, Dominic's not just one of the only big-time pieces in the Compton Magic organization. As now you're going to be able to hear from one of the top girls coaches, and I just don't mean coaching girls. She's one of the top female coaches that has been leading men through a whole lot of different things and becoming one of the top, most well-known coaches in California and the United States. And that's Coach Breeze McDonald. So stay right there. You're not going to miss hearing what she has to say about so many topics ranging from her new position, coaching women at the high school level, the Pangos All-American Camp, and of course, Compton Magic. Her interview is coming up right after this. I couldn't be more excited than to welcome on one of the biggest pieces behind the Compton Magic, the 2017 Positive Coaching Alliance double goal coach and recipient, the Hawthorne Math and Science Academy girls basketball coach, and one of the coaches from the Pangos freshman sophomore camp. Coach McDonald, how are you doing today?
Hey, I am doing super, 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 super. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Appreciate you taking time to come on.
For sure.
All right, so let's just jump right in then. So, how did you first get involved in the basketball world?
Oh man, well, you know what? When I was younger, I did some ROTC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a year when I got into ninth grade, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So I tried out for a basketball team. And when I tried out for the basketball team, that was my first time playing organized basketball. I mean, I used to play in the backyard with my brothers, you know, with the grocery basket and the milk carton, the milk cart as our court. We used to do some stuff like that, some street ball, but I never played organized basketball. So from that point, I was in the 10th grade, and then I just fell in love with the game, man. And I started playing in the 10th grade and went all the way through, got a scholarship at a couple universities, played D1, and just kind of took it from there. And I kind of figured I didn't want to play because I didn't like people bossing me around all the time. I hated getting up at 5 a.m. and running and things like that. But I knew that I loved the game. And so I used to always get like the award, like the motivation award. So I was the person that like just hyped everybody up. So at that point, I knew I probably could coach because I was good at doing that. And then that kind of segued me into kind of teaching, where I kind of started coaching when I was in education. So from that point, I started it. And then, the rest is history. From there, just started my own AAU program at that time, which was a Game Time Elite. And everybody know that. That's the purple team. A lot of people used to get whooped by that team. And after I did that, just kind of rolled up to Earl Watson. Shout out to Earl, my guy, and started over there when it was Earl Watson, not when it was West Coast Elite, and kind of took my group over there. And I said, you know, that's not a good fit either, man. I really got to find kind of what I want to do and kind of where I want to be at. And then I ended up at a Compton Magic, which is a whole nother story.
That definitely led into a lot of things, and you're also able to win a Positive Coaching Alliance double goal coaching award.
Absolutely.
So talk about that and what that was like, being able to win that.
Oh, man, that was dope. So I can't say when I was at Earl Watson, what it did do is it introduced me to another level, so to speak, of basketball. And then Compton Magic was probably like the epitome of the level, but it did take me there. And there, I touched a lot of lives, man. I probably coached over like 500 kids just in this time I've been coaching.
Wow.
And I was nominated by, you know, parents and people in the community for that award. And it was 2,500 finalists. And I won out of that 2,500 for the state of California. And what they really liked was, one, I was a female coaching all males, and which at my level, I don't see any female coaches. Like I was the only female coach at Pangos. And that kind of really, really got their eye. And then plus just my style of just inspiring and really building back up after I kind of really instilled that hardness in you, building players back up so that they could go at it again. I think they like that. And then from that, I won that award, and it was a great time, man. It was an honor to win that award for sure.
Absolutely. For sure. I think definitely doing something like being part of club is not something that obviously you go into it for making a lot of money and stuff. It's something you want to invest in kids, and you truly want to give back to the great sport and just be able to be around kids and help them. So when you're able to get recognized for that, I mean, not all coaches, obviously, you guys don't go out every day waking up saying, I want to get an award, I want this and that. It's more helping the kids, but when you're able to get recognized, it's something that's truly deserved.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially when you're doing it for the right reason, like you're giving back to the public, whether it's a teacher or, you know, a police officer, you know, social workers. I mean, they're not paid at the top of the, you know, the paying rank, you know what I mean? So a lot of it, you're doing it, especially in that with coaching, you're doing it because you love it. You want to inspire kids, you know, and, you know, you could change a life, but, you know, it's also the educator in me because I have an education background. So I take that same philosophy, you know, if I could change one life, I'm good.
You also were given an opportunity now to become a girls coach at Hawthorne Math and Science Academy. So talk about that opportunity and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that opportunity in coaching HMCA. One, because I've only coached girls one time when I was in middle school, and that time I coached, we did win the championship, and I just stopped still. I don't know why I didn't continue. But I'm a guy coach. So I feel that this chance at HMSA, it gives me a chance to show that I am a coach. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm able to coach girls and young ladies and young men. It gives me a chance to just show that I'm an actual coach. I know what I'm good at, you know, and I know where I prefer to be, but I think that this is a good stepping stone for me in my coaching career moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you look at so many things. I mean, just 5 or so years ago, you never really heard of many girl coaches, and still aren't a high population of them. But now you're seeing people like Becky Hammond, a lot of different girls being able to get
Absolutely.
involved in the NBA and with men, showing that it can be done. There's no reason it can't be happening, which is just awesome to
Absolutely.
see it starting to trickle down to all different levels.
Absolutely, no, for real. And like, I mean, there's like 3 female coaches in the NBA right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think that's a solid thing. So I like it too, you know. And I'm the only female in Compton Magic, and you know, I never forget when I walked up and Doug, and we'll get into that, like kind of how that happened when Ato Look was like, what? Breeze got a woman coach with? I mean, Doug got a woman coach with it? What's this about? But you know, that's before he knew my track record and knew I kind of, you know, I stood on my own 2 feet all the time. So it's a pleasure to be able to represent females at a high level of travel ball, especially being around guys that we know that might go to the league, that are going to get great scholarships. Traditionally, there are not a lot of women around those guys, but I can tell you that I've had a hand in a lot of them that will probably go pro.
Being a female coach is not something that it's kind of nature for a lot of people that it's not common, so it's kind of hard to accept right away. But obviously, you've been able to do it at a very high level. And so, talk about that and how you originally got involved and were able to get into the Compton Magic program.
So when I just get involved in boys, it's just, you know, I coach my godson just probably like his whole life, put the ball in his hand. And from that point, that's probably why I stayed with boys for so long. So after I had left Earl Watson, fast forwarding, we were at like a crossroads because, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually didn't know where I wanted Dylan to play. And Dylan Andrews, he's over there at Compton Magic. And I didn't know what we were going to do. But he always wanted to play for Compton Magic. He knew a little bit more about Compton Magic than I did because I just used to always beat like the regular Compton Magic. So I didn't know that it was a whole nother level of Compton Magic. You get what I'm saying? And that level was a whole different level. So when I started off, leaving Earl Watson, and then I got a call from Doug, man, Coach Doug Joseph, and he had said, this is his exact words. He said, Breeze, I hear you naked out here on the street. You need to come on home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man. But I was getting a lot of those phone calls all the time. Like I got it from Cal United. I got a couple places. I was looking at Nike. I was at Under Armour. That's what I had left. And this would be my first time kind of entertaining Adidas. And we went to a practice. And I'll never forget, we went to the practice. I was like, man, Doug, no, this is not my style. Quiet up in here. So we meshed. He took over the defense. He said, Breeze, you can implement any offense you want. I know you're an offensive head. And from that point, man, we just kind of turned off the lower level. And it was a great fit. And we ended up staying at Compton Magic. And that was it. And then I ended up really loving Compton Magic. You know, the move initially was to find Dylan a home so that he could stay in the same place all the way until he graduated, until it's time to stop playing travel ball. And then I didn't know if I was going to coach. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then I fell in love with the environment, just the dudes around, just the positivity, man. Just seeing my people at a different level and seeing coaches with master's degrees like me, because I have 2 master's degrees, and just seeing that I was around somewhere where I could learn something too. And that's all I needed. And from that point, it was magic life.
That's one of the key things you just talked about right there that separates Compton from so many people. I mean, in terms of just California, of course, is respect what Oakland Soldiers do, and obviously West Coast Elite and Strive for Greatness beginning and all the different teams. But Compton Magic's able to do something that very few club teams have been able to do, and that's sustain being at a very high level for many, many years now and producing NBA players in every draft, basically pretty much every year, and the roster is full of D1 talent. And just be able to sustain that recognize where everyone has respect for them. I mean, you see someone walk in with the Compton Magic stuff, it's respectable, and everyone shows a lot of love for them, and that's just
Yeah.
something to be a part of. Is something definitely special.
It's something real special and big, because when you see Compton Magic behind it, you know it's work behind it. You know it's grind. You know, like it's trench work. It's people are like putting in sweat and tears and hours because they love that craft. So definitely, if you see somebody walking in a Compton Magic shirt, you definitely got to wear it with pride, because it's like it's almost its own NBA brand. Like, you know, if you were a Lakers player and had that, and representing what it says on that Lakers jersey, which is Lakers, man, it's nothing like that Compton Magic, because like we always say, anybody that plays us, it's their Super Bowl, because we're going to take L sometime, but when we take the L, it's like a victory lap for everybody. Just wearing that name on your chest, you got to be respectful. You got to be respectable, because you're going to be respected, like for real.
Talking about like what Compton's able to do is something that they help fund, and they just put a lot of great events out in California. And one of the things was obviously Pangos this past weekend. To talk about
Absolutely.
one of those things and talk about your team you're able to coach, as they had a lot of talent, and then some of the stuff you saw from Compton Magic players throughout the event that really stood out to you.
Hey man, the Pangos, this was a good one. You know, I've been to a couple, and this was the one that kind of really stood out for me, because not only was it was a well organized event, and it was a lot of kids, and a lot of kids showed up to show that they were the best, and that was good to see. Um, I can also say, like, some of the teams I've coached, I like that Jay Hunter kid. I think he's from up north. I like the Aiden Shaw kid.
Mm-hmm.
They were great players. And I like two of the kids, you know, I forget their name, but they were from Alaska. They came all the way from Alaska to get some of this, and they actually really, really did well. So a few of the teams I coached, they had like some great talent on it, you know. But I know for everybody, the team that I coached that stood out the most was the Pacific team with Kajani Wright, Dylan Andrews, Cobbs, Mikey Williams. It had a it had some future McDonald All-Americans on that team. So that was a joy just to see all those players with all that talent work together. You know what I mean? Pass the ball, defend for each other in a camp atmosphere. And I was really pleased to hear them talking to the other players, telling them, you know, kind of step up. You know what I mean? Don't lose the momentum when we go out. Just seeing them be leaders with the other players. So that was a great thing.
Being a showcase camp, there's not many of them out there that produce at a high level. I mean, there's always a lot of talent, but it's not, you see, they're not run great, or they're just
Right.
too much of it's like in a way. But I mean, this one definitely had it. I mean, there was so much talent there and so much competitiveness. Like I said, I mean, obviously the
Absolutely.
one game with Aiden Shaw versus your team and all Mikey and everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, that game, especially during the first half and even most of the second half, I mean, it was high competitiveness.
Absolutely.
Everyone was challenging each other at the rim. I mean, that's something that I think as a scout or coaches or fans or whatever it is, you want to watch that, because it's just truly seeing that kids want to lay it all out, and they don't care about just being flashy. It's truly laying it all out on the
Yeah.
court to see who's the best player.
Yep. You know, and I give that props too to like Dino's and Atope, and just a few of those guys that were working that back end and kind of organizing how that top 30 game was going to be, and really already putting the guys in the fives that are going to come out, so that we can have a competitive stretch all the way through, if you get what I'm saying. So it wasn't too many mismatches. It was talent that can go head to head. So that kind of took the pressure off the coaches to sub like that. So I really liked that. That was really, really good. And it kept the game tight, and it kept everybody competing to the end, until Dylan goes up to the line and makes that free throw and puts the game away.
So much young talent. Obviously, Compton's never really going to run out of it. But I mean, looking at guys like Johnny, like Dylan, like Mikey, and so many others. I mean, so talk about them. I mean, those are three of the bright spots. But talk about some of the other young players that you see coming up in Compton. Even some of the guys that's going to be on the freshmen coming in for next year.
Yeah. So you know, we can't leave out of that. We can't leave Big X. You know, Xavier Edmonds. He's over there at Bishop Montgomery. You know, X was another player that I kind of brought over to Compton Magic, and when his mom was unsure about what to do, and I told her I know a perfect place, and he's now playing at Bishop and giving quality minutes, man. He's a 2023 and somebody to look up for. And another one is Jared McCain. Jared's going to be a hooper, and he's at a Corona Centennial right now. He's another 2023 we got coming up, and we also got Bobo coming from up north. We got a light, nice talent in that 2023. And of course, we got Mikey Williams that stands out in that 2023 spot. Just multifaceted, multi-talented, but still got a lot of room to grow because he's a young guy. But the sky's the limit. So when you think about those guys that are still working, plus our 2022 class that's working, like you have Benny Geeler, who's just a lights out shooter. You got Kajani Wright, just murders in the paint, and you got Dylan Andrews, just a 6'3", just skilled point guard. That 2022 class is locked too as well, so we got some great young guys, even more than that, and guys that are going to probably come over in the spring that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing them develop in the next couple of years.
Compton Magic players typically stay with the Compton Magic brand all 4 years, which is huge. It's not really typical in any basketball scenario between high school and club anymore. But
Absolutely.
talk about that. I mean, one of the guys that just obviously 17s are now done with you guys as they finish off and getting ready to play in high school and then go to college. But talk about those guys and how you've seen some of them develop throughout the course of being with Compton Magic, like Evan, like Jalen, like Dalen, a lot of those guys.
Man, I think like when you look at, all of them, Jalen, Jay Clark, DT, Dalen Terry, when you look at Eb, Isaiah, all these guys that are gone. When you look at Johnny, Isaiah Hill, you could go on and on and on. Dre, like a lot of the guys that have stayed with this program, and I think Isaiah Hill was there since and Big Evan Mobley, all these guys, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, including like Jaden Byers. When you see these guys, the amount of time that they've stayed, one thing you see is major growth. So, what I'm big on is I feel that it's like in a classroom, right? If you constantly switch classes and constantly switch schools, you're going to lose something. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how elite of an academic person you are. If you're an elite student, you're going to begin to lose something because you keep on taking those breaks, right? And it takes, studies show it takes 28 days to teach a new behavior. So when you keep moving students and they got to learn something new and new and new, you're stretching out that time that they could have been developed in a short amount of time. So Compton Magic, keeping these guys, don't get fooled. These dudes got to work to stay. Mm-hmm. It's not guaranteed that you're on the 15s that you're going to go to the 16s. You got to work. We've lost some guys that have been some guys, but they were outworked by some other guys. So if you're outworked by them, then you might lose that spot. So in order to continue moving up that ladder to stay, you got to keep working, no doubt. And those guys that you see have stayed those years, they put in the work to earn those stripes for real. And that's why they get better. So now you have them staying. And you got Kajani that's been there. Dylan now from the 8th grade. You have all these players, Benny, Geeler, Mikey now, since we've got him from the 8th grade moving up. We got Q. I forgot about Q. Quentin Webb, that's another 2023. And these guys are going to be there. So you're really going to see some growth. And with that, you have consistency around them. So you got the same people in the same circle, which is really, really good. Now you don't have people coming in, trying to change things, trying to get an edge up. We're really tight on all that, and we keep our family really tight. And because of that, you see the flowers bloom. It's a pretty simple equation.
No doubt. Well, it's definitely been a blessing having you on there. I appreciate you taking time to come on. And best of luck this upcoming season, coaching your first year of high school. Absolutely. And then obviously from here on out with Compton Magic.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you for having me on, Zach. Let's get it. Hey, yes, that's right. And your brother was there at Pango's. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Let's go. You got some ball in you too.
No doubt. Well, appreciate you coming on. God bless.
All right, for sure.
Coming up next, he's last, but certainly not least. As you probably know his name, or at least feel familiar with it, as he's one of the most regarded and well-known and respected coaches, not just in California at the AAU level, but in the country. And now being a high school coach at Eisenhower High, I think everyone knows him in the basketball world. Coach Spoon is up next, and trust me, you're not going to miss hearing, because he's going to talk to you guys all about Compton Magic and how they started, what the meaning, and what the respect and how they've gained the respect as Compton Magic and what that brand means to everyone in the organization and why we see it as one of the most dominant AAU teams out there. Trust me, you're not going to miss hearing what he has to say. His interview is coming up next. It's an honor to be able to welcome one of the most well-known coaches. He coaches Eisenhower High and is one of the most recognized Compton Magic coaches, and Coach Spoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Zach?
Pretty well. So let's jump right in. So how did you first get into the basketball world?
I got into the basketball world through Dino Tagonis and my uncle Bob White and Ato and Keith Wilkes.
Was coaching a passion you've always had, or was it something that God just kind of decided to bring you down a different path, and later on in life you kind of decided, you know what, I want to try coaching, and obviously things went from there?
It's a passion I always had since a little kid. Through the help of my high school coach, Tim Sweeney Sr., one of the legendary coaches out of the Long Beach area. He helped me learn the passion. You know, me and my coach, we used to do a lot of chalk talk. And he taught, by him diagramming, this taught me the game more better. You know, he really took me under his wing, not knowing that he was really preparing me to be a coach.
There's so many stories from basketball players, because obviously not everyone is able to make it to the NBA or even play a long time professionally. But I mean,
Yes.
just being able to have that passion where you still love the game, it's just maybe God brings you down a different path to where you see different ideas in terms of you want to be a coach or in management, or there's so many different things in basketball where it's awesome to find those passions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a passion of a game I fell in love with as a young kid. And then, two, basketball saved my life twice. You know, once,
Wow.
I come from humble beginnings, gang-infested neighborhood in Long Beach, a lot of drug dealing, grew up with Snoop, me, Nate, Snoop, the twins, Warren G, a couple other guys, grew up in the poly apartments. Just the obstacles we had to deal with, and basketball was just a great outlet. And, my first coach, Charlie Moe, rest in peace, out of King Park, was one of that really introduced it to me. And then Joe Barnes and Steve Ward out of Silverado Park and Barry Barnes really started putting the game on me.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've been able to take that, being able to like love basketball and being able to be a coach, and all you brought that to now you're going to be able to be the head coach at Eisenhower High. Talk about that and what you're excited for this upcoming year and how the kind of opportunity approached you.
One late evening, I was coming home from work and I got approached by a parent and a teacher. So happened to be friends. I was in the grocery store late night getting some Captain Crunch. And they kind of just cornered me like, hey, we know who you are. You're Coach Spoon. I'm like, okay. And it's like, you need to come to our school, and we need a guy like you in our community. We see the work you guys. We need your guys' work in our community. And she's like, I'm best friends with the AD. I'm gonna tell her about you. And then 2 days later, I get a call from the AD. I guess she did her homework, and she was like, so when you coming to meet your kids? And I'm like, huh? What kids? And she's like, Eisenhower. You my coach. And that was pretty much it from there. And we just did the process. It was God,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's crazy. I mean, there's so many different paths and things that God just puts in our lives that you might not ever know exactly why, or just odd occasions like that. I mean, it's the littlest of things you never would think would come from, but it brings you down a whole new path that you're truly thankful for.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to this upcoming season?
I'm looking for the growth of my big man, Daniel Ruzon, 6'8", out of Las Vegas, just moved here. Happens to be my younger cousin. Ready for his coming out party. He played on our 16s this year. Got a taste to see how I play on the big time circuit, which he's not, which he's familiar with. Came from Dream Vision to our program.
Mm-hmm.
And the growth of my guards. I was young last year. I have a freshman point guard that led the 3A division with 4.6 assists a game. We're young, but I think we're going to be pretty exciting. But right now, we're getting the defensive mentality.
Obviously, was known for your work with Compton Magic. Let's talk about that and how you kind of got the opportunity to become a member of Compton.
My big bro, Ato, we've been in the event business for 25 years. Me, him, Dino. Dino was a mentor. We grew up in the same community of East Long Beach. I've been knowing Dino all my life. And they kind of tricked me into coaching, and I'll get into that part. But I got into the event business with Dino, learning the game, running events. Because, when I got through playing overseas, and one day Dino's like, man, I need you to come to my guard camp, man, and come talk to the kids and all that. So I was like, I had nothing to do. And my passion took over. And I could just remember this one day, him and Keith, and so happened they had Brandon Jennings and some young kids on this team at this time. And it's like, man, we need you to coach these young kids, man. We don't need you to do this. And I've been stuck in the coaching box ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. And Keith Wilkes is like a older cousin. He had a gym at the time down in Orange County in Cypress that Dino and Atop used to use a lot, and had a lot of events going out of there. And just a lot of talent came out of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday. Just, back then it was just so competitive and good basketball. And at that time, I just remember having a conversation way back then, going to an East Coast camp, and our kids wasn't getting their respect. And it was just more East Coast bias. And I was like, man, we need to come home and run our events for our kids and get our kids out there and get them the stage and exposure. And here we are 26 years later, Dino's doing this thing. I'm doing my thing with Ato. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to help kids and help them reach their dream. Everybody can't go pro, but I preach about getting a free education. If you make it to the league, take care of your family. But like I tell kids back then, it was 3.3%. Now that percentage is 0.3% to get to the NBA. So the high percentage is to go get the degree.
Obviously, you guys started, like you said, just to give kids exposure, which you guys more than excel what that expectation was. I mean, you guys obviously have everyone in you guys' rosters go Division I, but just being able to create something that's built over time because you guys care about the kids to where it has now translated into getting not only kids their education, but also putting them in the NBA and playing them professional. I mean, it's a very high percentage of guys that you see going to the NBA. I mean, Jalen Hands obviously last year. You guys are going to have Mobley brothers. I mean, the list goes on, but just being able to have that much success throughout your program is awesome.
It starts in the grassroots of our program. I mentioned Jay Hand's been with us since going into the 9th grade. TJ Leap since the 7th grade. That's the base. You got to start the foundation young. Everybody can go after the hot kid that's hot now and do all these promises, but are you really developing these kids? Are you really showing them something outside of basketball to make them a rounded student athlete, a rounded human being, that can go into society and be productive? Because, the basketball is only going to bounce for so long.
Dominic talks about that and how you guys also have so many other things you guys do for the community, like giving back and a lot of different programs that teach the kids how to give back. And there's more to life than just obviously basketball. And that's awesome. Yeah. That's something that's going to carry with them forever.
And I'm glad you brought that question up. And I want, all the, your listeners to know that this program is from Compton. And it's going to continue being from Compton. We started in Compton. This program started with Atop and Rob Palmer just to save kids from gang banging. They was putting kids in trunks when other gangs were surrounding schools to try to come get a basketball player because he was from a rival neighborhood. It was case management that they started just to keep kids together in the summer so they wouldn't lose their kids. Because they was coming back in the summer like, what happened to such and such? Oh, he's in jail. Oh, what happened to such and such? He can't go here because he's from another neighborhood. So they kept their kids together. And from there, the brand built from what you see today.
It truly speaks measures into what basketball is more than just the sport. I mean, there's so much more that you guys have been able to do on and off the court.
We want the kids that know that these kids that lay the brick and gravel to this road that we're leading to, they have to know where this program comes from. So we take these kids back to their community. We've been blessed to have kids from different backgrounds, all walks of life, multiple cultures, but they need to know where this program comes from. So that's why we got an office on Compton Boulevard. We feed the homeless. We gather books to help the elementary because they don't have no books in the Compton school district system. These kids need to learn. This is what the original kids went through when they was growing up. This was the obstacles that they was facing. And this is what you have to do as a human to give back. You're going to take so much from the game, but what you going to give back?
Knowing where and what's the right thing to be able to put in kids' lives to be able to make such an impact inside the community and then obviously inside of California, West Coast, and then pretty much the entire United States now.
Yeah, and when we started a couple of recent programs, and one of them was based on because my kids live in Compton, raised in Compton, go to elementary right now in Compton. And, Tote, being the loving uncle he is to his niece and nephew, he's like, I'm sponsoring a tutor program for my niece and nephew, and we're going to grow it from there.
Obviously, Compton Magic has so much talent built up. I mean, obviously, you guys have now moved on from Evan Mobley, Jalen Clark, Dalen Terry, and the list goes on from this past class. But talk about some of the future Magic guys.
Well, Chaney, the humble giant, he's a great kid, man. I'm speechless when it comes to him because he's a lunch pail guy. He don't say nothing. He gets his lunch pail and go to work. Very humble, good Christian kid, very great student. He's a leader that leads by action. I've seen a lot of growth in Dylan. I think Dylan is a very special player. It was so crazy. Them kids are just now starting to grow. They haven't even scratched it yet, to me. Mm-hmm. You got Mikey, a workaholic. You know, everybody might get caught up in the little social media videos, but they don't know this kid. I could probably say he's in the gym right now. They probably have to kick him out the gym. I mean, he has a different type of drive. You got Malik Thomas, a bulldog on defense, strong on offense, beautiful jumper, kind of like the emotional leader. We're going to be all right.
Everyone has respect and knowledge that Compton Magic is, they've been able to do it for so long at such a high level. Kids always want to come to Compton. It's a respectable brand that people from all over the place would love to play for and be under that brand.
Yes. That's understandable, but we're humble on that part. We just try to be the best professionals we can be, but we are competitive. And one of our motto is nobody outwork us. Mm-hmm. You know, if we feel we lacking, we're going to pull our brains together and we're going to get it right and we're going to push the agenda forward. This is one thing like Toby used to say some years back. This is basketball crack. Mm-hmm. It's just like we're addicted to it, man. It's like, man, I can't explain it, man. I just get excited about this stuff, man.
A great example of that is one of the last tournaments you guys had this last year. I think you guys went out and only had 7 guys, and then you guys had someone get hurt, and you guys were still able to come out and win the entire tournament with just a few guys.
Tote went down that freeway with 7 wolves. And see, people, them the guys that you don't know that do the dirty work. Play defense 94 feet, work in the gym. Like, I can speak on Malik Thomas. He's in my gym every Wednesday. Coach, I need to get right. I just, hungry, just humble, wanted to just correct every weakness he got. That's the team that went up there that had a chip on their shoulder. Them guys are dogs. I knew they was going to go scrap.
Dalen, obviously, he has achieved being a top 50 player. He can go anywhere he really wants for college. I mean, he's done it all, but he still has that motive behind him where he wants to go at it and at everyone, but he's still the second he gets off the court, though, it's just he's friends with everyone. Somehow he switches the flip more than really anyone you could really see out there in the basketball world.
He works hard. Ray and Tony Miller, other guys, coaches in our program. Shout out to them. Doing a great job with Dalen. But Dalen's he wants it. He like me. He from the mud. He humble, but he gonna work. But he want to play the best. He want to defend the best. He want to play the best. He's a great teammate. Man, him and Jalen Clark, man, they some dogs. Mm-hmm. They some dogs, man. They want it. They hungry.
I appreciate you coming on and joining me today, Coach. Best of luck this upcoming season. I'm excited to see what you're able to do, and of course, from here on out with Compton Magic. Best of luck, Coach.
Thank you, Zach, and good luck on your show. Let's get you to ESPN.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it, Coach. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here today on the very first episode of the Compton Magic series. Now, trust me, we're just getting started. I've got all kinds of top Compton Magic guys that are on the 17Us, and, of course, some of the future guys that you're going to see shining in the AAU for years to come. It's going to be a loaded series, but make sure to stay up to date on that, because you're not going to miss a single one of these episodes. It's going to get big time after star after star after star, including Friday's episode with Evan Mobley, the /1 player in all the country, and there's so much more upcoming guys. So make sure to go and follow me at Zach Shoemaker on Twitter and Instagram. That's ZACH / depending on the platform, Shoemaker, SCHUMAKER. Trust me, you're not going to miss a single one of these episodes along with what's in store after the Compton Magic series. I've got so much upcoming this season. I'm completely booked for the entire rest of this calendar year and even heading into the 2020 year. Thank you so much, everyone, for once again joining me today. Now, I like to close out every episode. SchuZ is out. Everyone go be the light of God, and God bless.